All right, so what we have here is my dad's Homelight two-stroke blower. It's really interesting. There's no throttle. You just have high, low, and off, and the choke over here. So I've never seen that. I've never seen a machine with no throttle. So very interesting stuff. He gave it to me, and the pull string was all the way out, and he had trouble getting it started. Spun the flywheel over here, and it immediately got the string back. And then I started it, and it started. Ran really bad though. And so I thought, I think people are kind of getting tired of the will it run videos. So let's do a will it run nice video. Something I wanted to focus on was taking a two-stroke, which I think a lot of people have that run poorly, and things to do to then make them run nice, and ideally cheaply or for free. Let me show you the video I just did right now, running it so you guys can hear how it sounds. All right, see if you guys can see it. I haven't touched it yet, but it was running for me before. So here's the throttle, here's the choke. We'll go to medium. We have the choke on right now. Yeah, so the idle, or I guess it's not an idle, it's just the RPMs in general, they fluctuate quite a bit. So there's something going on there, probably an air leak. As you can see, when I tilt it back and forth, it will bog down or go higher. So definitely something there. Also, this is a very wet machine, so a lot of gas is and oil is coming out of it, which is not ideal for a two-stroke. So the very first thing we're going to do is let's get this cleaned up before we start tearing into it. There we go. It's got all sorts of water in it. All right, so we're back the next day. I've let it dry. As you can see, a lot of that gunk is off now, which will really help us kind of get into vacuum testing, or in this case, what we're gonna do is add pressure from the spark plug hole and see if it comes out of any of the gaskets or seals or anything like that. But what we need to do is we will need to seal off between the air box and the carburetor. And then something a little unique with this muffler, the exhaust actually enters to where the air, I don't know if you guys can see in there, that right there, that's where the exhaust goes. So what I want to do is actually, we're going to take this side of the cover off. So you see a couple of bolts holding it on. We're going to remove that side of the cover. We're going to block the hole on the other side. And then I'm going to get a piece of rubber and I will block up to here. So we'll take off the air box. Put what I use is an old bike tire. I cut it up and then you slap it on. And then what we'll do is seal that up, take the spark plug out. What we'll do is drop the cylinder all the way down, and I'll explain that more. And then we'll add some compressed air in here, and we'll cover the sealing surfaces with some soapy water and see if we can find Leak. See if I can loosen her up. Sometimes when they're in there for a long time. Oh, wasn't even that tight. Let's see. Oh, that looks pretty good. I thought it'd be much worse. So that looks like it was a little on the rich side, obviously, around the top there, but it doesn't look like any problems in terms of just, a bunch of fuel, or it was super lean. Hardest part of the job right here, huh? Okay, there's like a little lip right here, so what we're going to want to do with the flatheads, peel her off. Okay, so I got that off. Very oily. See if you guys can see what's going on here. Here's the air filter. Whoa. That thing is drenched and it's falling apart. Oh my goodness. That needs to be replaced. So that's the choke. Carb looks really clean, actually. So this thing is completely soaked and it's just falling apart. Luckily, I can make one real easy for that. I'm guessing I might even just try throwing in an air filter and seeing if that helps out, because the other one was very, very soaked in oil, and that obviously will have it run rich. What I will do, let me do this, is let me cut out an air filter. We'll throw that in, and then I would like to take a look at the car, but really there's not much in terms of adjustment. Yeah, let me cut out an air filter, and then we'll clean that spark plug, and then we'll see how she does. Lucky day, I have the exact foam air filter for this machine. Just in my parts bin, so. And then drop it on the ground, make sure you get a lot of dirt in there. Like that. There it is. All right, so what I have is a spark plug and some vice grips. As you can see if it kind of focuses in here. See all around the threads, it's not focusing, but there's a lot of gunk in those threads, and also just kind of at the top there. It uses those threads to ground out to the cylinder when it creates spark, and sometimes you can actually get weak spark if those threads are dirty. So what I like to do is I got a little propane torch, nothing crazy, and then I just heat it up and see about burning all that off. So. If I turn it the right way, and it just kind of take all that stuff out of there, get it in the threads and everything. All right, there you go. That looks much cleaner. Again, very, very hot. Don't touch it. Let it cool down before we put it in. All right, got that plug back in. What I'm going to do is just try starting it and see how she runs. I don't have the other side on, so I may regret this if I ruin it or catch it in the grass or something. So I'm going to try to be careful, but we'll see. This may be a regret. So I have it in the run. I'm going to put it in the idle position, give it some fuel. Let's see what happens. Sounded pretty good. So I was messing with this. This is the only jet you can mess with. It's the low, actually, but the low does affect running speed. It's just the high, usually a max. It's the main jet. it actually sounded like it ran pretty well. Let me put it together and see if that's all it was. I don't see any leaks, and then maybe I'll get it together and we'll get some serious run time on it and see how she does. All right, I got it all back together. Let's turn it on and see how she runs, eh? All right, we're back after that test run, and I wanted to see if you guys can get a good look here. That's the mount that I've had trouble with on that Ryobi, and I'm not seeing it wet like it's leaking. It's going to be a little bit difficult. It has a lot of residual oil on here from me washing it and everything, but there's no active leak there. Yeah, I don't see anything that's telling me that that's where it's coming from. I don't see anything. Let's see the exhaust. The exhaust is going to be a little bit, we saw a little bit of smoke coming out like it's burning oil, you know, when we first started. There's a lot of gas still in the exhaust. That's why I wanted to run it a little bit. But in terms of leaks, so like the carburetor, so that was just a flooding issue. I don't see any more gasoline coming out. So he just flooded it. So that's what all of that wetness was he tried turning it on and it wasn't turning on. He probably had the choke on, and this carburetor is pretty rich, and so it probably instantly flooded, and seeing it, the orientation of this carburetor was just spilling out everywhere. So that's what happened, or at least what I believe happened. However, we ran into a fluctuating idle or a fluctuating RPM at any given range, and when I adjusted this, so the low jet here, let me get a good one. The only adjustment I have, so when I adjusted the low jet, it wasn't holding the tune very well, which is, to me, very indicative of a carburetor issue, specifically the metering diaphragm. So what we'll do is I'm gonna let it cool down. When I get back to it, we'll take off the air cover, pull off that carburetor, and tear it apart and see what's going on. See, I imagine it's clean, but we'll see the condition of that metering diaphragm and if it needs to be replaced, if I have another one. So, two. Oh, well, that could be a running issue as well. It looks like the gas line has broken off on the inside. So what we will do, and that is filled to the top. I'm surprised it's not leaking out. I'm just gonna put that in there for right now. We will replace those. And if my suspicions are correct, this thing will not be super flexible. See if we can kind of get a flathead in there. Usually there'll be, you can kind of get a little bit of a crunch, but I don't think that that is causing our problem. Oop, here. So we'll take a look at that. Oh, look at that screen. So that is the screen going into the carburetor, so it goes onto this side. That's completely clogged. So that tells me the fuel filter is not filtering, which now that we see that there's a break in the hose, my guess is that the hose is actually broken in there. And what it was doing was introducing air and all sorts of junk. Yeah, look at that. That's all junk on the actual pump part. All right there. So we'll clean that out. But that's what was happening, is that fuel line broke. Okay. So now this side, where these jets are, it looks like I can't really remove this one. At least this way we can spray a little bit of a carb clean. So now I'm spraying through the low here. See that? Shooting out the carb. Cool, cool. And then here's the high. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it just has the one jet. Maybe they blocked off the high. How does this one work? All right, cool. So we got the filter, which I think I actually grabbed another one. That one looks pretty dirty and old. So the exact replacement. So I have a new one that I'm going to use. And here's the old line. So as you can see here, something kind of cool they did is the black line here on both of these looks pretty good. I think we won't mess with that. Well, I didn't record it. It wasn't it wasn't fitting well on the carburetor, as you can see here. Not quite the best seal on these outlets. However, this is the return line. Not nearly a big deal for a good seal here. It's just gas going back in. There you do want it airtight. And so I reuse this. So that looks good. Worst case scenario, if we have to do the same thing for here, we will. But I have it all in. It looks good. See if you guys can get a look at the filter in here, where it's kind of sitting. And again, that's probably because where it's tilting, that's probably where the fuel will sit. So it's about right in this range. So what I will do, let me button it back up. Carburetor's good. Fuel line should be good. New primer bulb. What I think is we'll take a look. If we have any leaking out of this, then I'll address that. But let me get the air box back on. And probably tomorrow, it's dark right now, but probably tomorrow we'll get some gas in it and see how she does. Get some gas in here. Watch out, kid. Let's do full choke, half choke. Cool. So a couple of things. The primer bulb, that hose definitely leaks. So we're gonna have to change the return line to something with a thinner inner diameter. And the float is way too far forward in the tank, so we have to pull that back. But other than that, I think she's good. I think we have no problems with that. So let's take her back and we will correct that. All right, so we got her all buttoned up. As you can see here, got it all lined up. Primer bulb works with no leaking. That looks pretty good. Happy with that. If you look over on this side, see if you guys can see the filter down there. I'll get a light, maybe that'll help. Way down yonder. It's probably down in this area now, like right around here. So I think that that's going to really help with the starts, because obviously you could tell when it got dipped back on its side, it was running low on fuel in the carburetor because obviously it wasn't in the fuel. So I think we're good. I'll button her up and then we'll do one more run. And I think that this one should be good to go. And then we can kind of talk about it. All right, don't choke. Well, thanks for watching to this point, really. We finally got it actually running pretty well, so I'm glad that, it wasn't too hard. I think it's a pretty common issue that a lot of two-strokes will run into. Really just comes down to that fuel line. If it busts, then you have all sorts of problems with that carburetor. And luckily in this video, we're able to get into it and hopefully make something that might be pretty intimidating a little more comfortable for some people. Because there's a lot of good two-stroke equipment out there that I think people are just a little afraid to get their hands into. Because, rightfully so, right? You don't know what's going on or what to look for. So, I hope it helps some people. If not, hopefully the kind of the loose style of it, kind of making fun of myself, made it at least enjoyable. Laugh at me. Yeah, thanks for watching. And I make a lot of videos like this. I make a lot of videos of just wrenching on things or fixing things around the house. And I try to do it with, just a little bit different of a style. Not too much, but try to make it somewhat unique. If you like it, as always, subscribe, because everybody wants to make money on their videos. And then the likes obviously help. And then another thing you can do is if you don't like it, you can actually comment on it, because that helps me too. So if you want to tell me that I did a bunch of stuff wrong, please put it down in the old comment section, because evidently negative engagement is still engagement. So with that, I want to say thank you guys again. And again, hopefully help some people out there. All right.